To be honest, I reckon the road is worse now than it was 12 years ago.
What are we coming out here for, Tom?
Coming here to create the platform for the eagle and the condor to unite again and connect the people back to their hearts, to the indigenous back to the non-indigenous, the male to the female, the material to the spirit. We're injecting spirit into innovation.
We think about all of this as a quest, as a great journey that we're embarking on, and inviting other people into, coming into the journey with us, creates a change in their transformation in their consciousness that becomes our gift to the world.
Entonces la idea acá es que creamos esta historia.
What are you really here for?
I'm here for an adventure on the motorcycle up the craziest road in Colombia. I'm here for my own growth, finding my own purpose in the world, I guess.
There is a selfish element to this because my consciousness grows by being here and by spending time with your people.
Hay como un elemento.
Trying to find a way to stop the destruction.
La pérdida del origen en los pueblos indígenas que no han sobrevivido la violencia, la transición, el mundo moderno.
The fifth fire is how we are making real a prophecy that is in many cultures. Here there are 4 ancestral fires, and the fifth fire is the fire from many different places with sacred flames that came, receive the information, give, and receive from them to support the process to recover the ancestral order. That's why it's the fifth fire.
All right, where to start?
Let's do a deep breath. Connect to the Sierra. We've been very connected to the Sierra, haven't we?
Deeply, deeply connected.
So since the 17th of December, we've been in deep pilgrimage in Consulta with the Arhuaco initially in Nausimake, and then the Kogi and Mulkangui. It's been a really expansive and beautiful, deep experience personally for me, and it's given great clarity and crystallization of action on the fifth fire and what it means to the indigenous and to us. It really means the same thing to both of us, and there was the real beauty that I saw was total alignment, gratitude, and synergy with the lines of action. The specific lines of action are recovery of sacred sites and sacred objects into indigenous resguardos, recovery of other territories into the fifth fire container with Eagle Condor governance. Those sites such as Finca Palestina in Mendihuaca or Vira Vira in Bonda, and others that maybe don't fit into resguardo situations. We have the harmonizations and pilgrimages. We confirmed that the fourth ring of activation is an essential
act before we complete the purchase of Piedra Donama. We are also, aligning with Eduardo's movement on leadership and ancestral wisdom, which also aligns really well with your part in this, Zachary, the launch of the media channels and, workshops with Indigenous and really telling the story of the Fifth Fire. And obviously at the base of all of this is the essential first task of creating the legal container and the funding capability of the Fifth Fire itself. Did I miss anything?
I would just back it up a little bit to set the stage that this is an adventure of the truest sense. It has been quite a journey, even just in the last 2 weeks, although it's on top of a much larger journey to connect with this amazing place and with these incredible people, with this wisdom contained in this land and in these cultures that did not lose their origin. And that has produced a deep attractor and draw to pull me and you and many others into this incredible place, into this journey, this quest to restore that which has been severed and broken, and to create a reunion around the world of peoples who have lost touch with their origins as we walk the path from our ancient origin into the ancient future. So this journey itself, for me, came hot off of another whole adventure in Guatemala, and I brought a lot of healing and purgative growth and transformation into that. I arrived in the Sierra carrying a lot of heartbreak and grief and a lot of some kind of virus or something that was made me really sick. And it really characterized an element of the power of the fire to burn away that which does not serve us. And that when you commit yourself to a higher cause, there are parts of the false self, the old self, the adaptation to the colonial script, basically the colonial system, that need to be burned away. And so I'd lived for years as an adventurer and a solo traveler, and I'm coming into council, coming into community, coming into myself as a character willing and able and qualified to join this group of people from around the planet converging here to restore what was broken. So we embarked on a great journey to Nabosima, the Arhuaco capital city, the forest utopia of indigenous culture, which is an amazing place that I'd had the great privilege of really going through a whole video game of travels and adventures through the Sierra 3 years ago, to land there as the sort of final level, and a place that truly blew my mind and showed me that all my values and visions and aspirations and ideals were actually alive already, and that indigenous peoples were carrying that thread that had not been severed, of living an egalitarian, incredibly conscious, totally intentional, ecological, socially anarchic, council-based, moneyless, transformational, civilization of the highest order. There is an advanced culture, an advanced humanity that is not degraded and degenerated as people all over the world who have lost their culture and been subsumed in the sort of colonial monoculture of the false spiritual systems of our world today that have done such damage to the planet and to us and to our culture and to each other. So getting to that place.
All that despite 500 years of destruction and colonization that these tribes have been through as well. They've maintained the connection to the origin. They they really imparted on us that is what the fifth fire represents. It's that connection back to origin, the connection of the future back to the origin, the connection of the indigenous to the non-indigenous, the masculine to the feminine, the material to the spirit, and really crystallizing what the fifth fire means to them, what it means to us. You know, the Arawakos talked about the fifth fire being the medicine of the four elements: the earth, water, fire, air, and that, you know, fire's taken over so many things, and the fifth fire, which is in all elements, needs to be the glue or the ether, the sealant, the harmonizer between the four elements, between the four tribes, between the four compartments of the heart, between the four states of humanity: the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. That was a real point of clarity for me as well.
So we took the bike up the most mental road in Colombia to Nabasimoke and went through multiple checkpoints and checks by the Arhuaco councils to bring our merry band of pilgrims from around the world, which is a great group of people, all on their own spiritual quest and journey, coming here for their own reasons, deeply honored and humbled to be here. And we came into Nabasimoke late at night and then met the Mamos at dawn, and they deliberated intensely and scrutinized us, and they had this really skeptical, stoic cadence, and they basically told us that we needed to speak our intentions. They talked a lot about being impeccable with our words and our commitments, and that a lot of people come here and they say they're going to help and then they end up leaving. And so they basically consulted with us, and we shared our intentions and told who we were and what we were here for. And then they were like, all right, now while the energy is rising, we're going to go consult with the mountain and basically translate for the place, for the nature itself, to transmit our intentions to it, to see if we were willing and qualified, if we were trustworthy. And ultimately they came back and their whole energy was different, and they were very chipper and excited the next morning, and that we passed the test, that our hearts were pure, lighter than a feather. And we began to go into this spiritual exchange with them, this process of co-creation, of talking out our purposes and our intentions and their needs, and really aligning in a very powerful way that we had gotten the clearance. And so we were really in alignment and understanding and questioning and bringing them this mission. And that's what they ultimately came forth and explained, that the fifth fire is this fifth element, that it is this spiritual force that holds together all of reality and consciousness and energy, and that words and legal structures all have energy, and that basically our system is out of alignment with natural law, and that we are misaligned from the weight that our energies carry. And basically, as I see it, our energy systems, our spiritual systems, have evolved into capital, legal forms, into media and digital technologies that are ethereal, that are not of the earth. They're made of the minerals and water to cool them and the fire to power them, but ultimately there's something else. And so we're here to realign and harmonize that elemental power and that force. And that was an extremely potent clarification of our purpose and of what the fifth fire is, as a name to call this council, this alliance, this organization, this movement, that really gives it just such clarity, that it is so clear to me that we're here to harmonize and heal the ether, the Luna, as the Kogi call it, the spirit.
Reconnecting all of those elements to the origin keeps coming up.
Right, the law of origin to them is everything. One of them was like, he's like, our culture is original. He's like, my style is original. He's like, I'm not copying anyone. You know, it's like everything they do is filtered through that origin.
100%.
Filtered through where they came from.
The way they dress, the purporo, the that their language, the connection to origin really is what differentiates them from other peoples. And I think not differentiates them from all other indigenous, but it definitely differentiates what is an original people and what is someone who's lost that origin. And it's about that, bringing the fifth fire being that glue to help bring those things back together. The spirit, the Aluna, as you say, that is what this is all about. And I think the two channels of ancestral wisdom and leadership education, along with the storytelling, really resonated very deeply with both sides of the tribes. It's really what it's what they've been told will happen. It's another brilliant thing last night, sitting around the fire here with the Kogi. You know, the Mamos know everything that's going to happen. They knew about this destruction that was coming. They knew that the 500 years of colonization would bring everything out of balance. They knew there would be all these trouble with armed groups here and things happening. They also knew that the fifth fire would come and help them to tell their story, help them to spread the wisdom, and help to bring the eagle and the condor back together. And as well, a key point was that the eagle has its place and the condor has its place. Yes, they can work together, but they still have their two places. They shouldn't be really completely together, but having that alliance of understanding and coherence and trust, I think is really powerful. And it really felt to me like we have developed deep trust as a movement with the most senior spiritual elders and the political or spokespeople of both sides, who are the kind of intermediaries. You know, the people who speak Spanish and Arawak or Kogi are the ones who are really translating the codes, the eternal codes of the mother or the law of origin, into younger brother language, which is Spanish or English. And that's almost what we have to do as the fifth fire, is complete that translation from the words that we hear into a medium that is going to be impactful in the outer world, to attract the energy, the connections, the resources that's needed to carry out the actions of the fifth fire, really. And another key point for me was the importance of the sacred sites and the reason why we've fallen into such chaos in the world and such disorder and such mental illness and bad health and destruction is because they've lost access to these sacred sites. Because things have fallen out of coherence, the mammals don't have access to do the work. Many of the sacred sites are inaccessible and destroyed completely. But we have a chance here to recover some of the most important sacred sites in the Sierra, in Piedra do Nama, the mouth of the Rio Buritaca. They mentioned several other sites when we were on a trip. So yeah, that was a key element for me as well.
Well, it's a clarification of the quest. It's literally a quest, like in a video game, to take back these territories that have been claimed by negative energies and that are locked in legal structures and in ownership and in these odious spiritual forms that keep the people from being able to go there, that keep the nature from coming back, that are not of this world, that are holding back, you know, the flow of life and the connection to the mother, which is, you know, when we were at the stone, the Piedra do Nama, which is the cartography of the universe, and they kept saying, "This is por todo, this is por todo," it's for everyone. And it's a whole map of the entire Sierra and of all the energy points all around it. And that was just such a clear explication of the quest to go and find those points all over the world that humans have always used to connect and commune with the nature, with the intelligence of Earth as a living being, and translate that, as the Mamos do, as many wisdom holders and wisdom keepers around the world have done for all humanity. There have always been people in these societies, these original societies, that can translate for nature. This is what I do with the camera. It's what ecologists do. It's what science does. It's, the Arhuacos talk about this whole process. It's just science. They're talking about the process of tuning into science, to frequency, to energy in a very holistic, complex way. And so we're looking to reclaim those energetic points, dispel the negative energies, create new forms of protection, new forms of ownership, of exchange, of legality, of coming into alignment with natural law, and evolving and growing in the process to map the whole territory of the energetic alignment, first of the Sierra, then of the whole planet, as we go on these pilgrimages to sites all over the world, to reconnect and rekindle that which has been severed. Our connection to earth, our connection to the lines of thought and of song and of prayer and of intention that is our story. It is our connection to who we are and our origin and our future.
Yeah,
It's epic. It's so epic.
for sure. And I think it's key as well that they're being forced to use these legal structures and these finance systems and these elements that we must introduce, because that's what we've pushed on them. Before, there was no resguardos, there was no land borders, there was just the Sierra and the sacred sites, and they kept everything in balance. But because we've come in as the younger brother and introduced land ownership, and we've put borders everywhere, and we've put legal titles everywhere, and we've put all these controls on things, they now must step into that world against their will, really. But it's the only way that they can start to bring back the balance through the pagamentos that need to be done at the sacred sites. And the pagamentos and the work that the Mamos do is real work. That's something I think that we both felt was the extraordinary energy output. It was exhausting, the work that we did, and that's the work that they do all the time.
Every day.
They are, in a way, the sacred exchange is extremely unbalanced. They're constantly doing work for us and for the entire planet that we really don't remunerate them for at all. We were both looking for this sacred exchange for them to be able to give something back, but they're already doing it. And there are elements where they can help us, especially with the storytelling and with the being kind of actively part of the educational and the storytelling side. But I think really their work in pagamentos and their spiritual work to keep things in balance is very, very deep and energetic.
To speak to that sacred exchange, that is really what we're here to rekindle and to create a righteous flow of co-creation, and to make legible and visible and valued the work that they're doing, the consciousness that they're holding, and to translate that value into the world of those legal forms and structures and finance and money and law and economy, and to bring people into direct exchange where, in the way that they pay into nature with their thoughts and they give payment, we can create paths for others to register and understand the work that they do and to pay into it. But if people don't know what they're doing and they can't understand it and they don't have the consciousness to be able to appreciate it, then it will go unvalued. And so our work here is to work with them to tell the story and to uplift the narrative of what is happening, to show and to make legible and visible, and then to translate into this substrate, this field, this energy field of this element, this elemental connection, which the fifth fire is, through legal, through media, through finance, through all of these ephemeral, ethereal forms that we're here to bring full circle and to evolve into their highest form, which is, a form of spirituality. And to speak to the change in the economy as becoming an ephemeral thing, and the negative side as nature is becoming abstracted into products that get turned into, zeros in someone's bank account and trash in the ocean, and then derivatives and debts and all these abstract fake financial instruments that are completely disconnected from the real world, that nature is external to the very economic calculation system, that it is not there, it's not present. the bridge through that is the emerging creator economy, the transformation, wellness, spirituality, coaching. These are the greatest sectors of the economy that are growing and growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
That we want to push that all the way, and to help the transformation and the consciousness itself become the product, the service, the source of exchange, that we're creating a pathway and a spiral for people to pay into through their contribution, through their commitment, through their money, through their capital, through their land and resources, to become a part of this journey, ultimately to evolve their own consciousness, their own communities, their own lives, their own land into this laboratory where we're actually exchanging and co-creating a new culture and co-originating our future together.
For sure, yeah. It's I think one of the most beautiful things was the first day we had in Mukungwangwi with the mamos under the tree, and we explained the channels of action that the Fifth Fire was doing, and there was instant agreement and smiles and joy and just gratitude. They were flowing with gratitude. It was unexpected, to be honest, to me, for such alignment, and I think it really shows actually the deeper work done in the past by all of us, but particularly Eduardo and Emilia, and and everyone who's worked in the alliance that preceded the Fifth Fire, the Alianza Regeneración del Corazón, all the people that were involved in that, and the kind of the necessary steps that have taken us here. It's been a long journey, often very kind of unguided and uncertain, and just finding our steps. But it was all necessary to get to this point of crystallization and clarity on the channels of action that have taken now 3 years to come to this point, really, of clarity, and also the many years of each person in the alliance who's done their own studies and their own gone through their own life experiences to have the wherewithal to come here. We all have our own journeys and our own origins, and we all have a different origin that is able to come forward as the Fifth Fire here now, and every member of the council that has joined this for a particular reason. Anyone who's involved in this now, I really hope that this crystallization really encourages people to step up and provide their gifts, provide their origin, and just really let's activate this now and step forward into manifestation.
Well, to give yourself some credit, you nailed it. We align the message in the story. This is what I will always be so evangelical about this. When the story is right, reality bends around it.
Yeah.
And we have been working to align this and figure this out, and I've been working people in this group through a process, and through my own processes and my own journeys to tell the story of this place and of the world in this moment. But it was really all convergent. It's worked itself out with every step of the journey that we've taken. Especially when we converged at Nabusimake, the story was just downloading itself. I woke up at 3 a.m. 2 days later, like with a start, like, of course, like this is it. And so when we communicated that to the Mamos, another part of the map, another level of the game, there was instant alignment.
Yeah.
And every person that I've explained this to since the clarification of this journey, the consciousness raising has been like, oh yes, I understand this. This is important. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that people want to be a part of. And beyond like, oh, we hope people will step up. Like, this is a journey. This is a rocket that's taking off. Like, there is so much energy and alignment happening right now.
So much convergence.
It's something that it's just getting started, but it's really, fire moves fast.
Yeah.
Fire moves quickly, and for every bit of kindling that we put into this, for every bit of commitment, for every bit of heart and soul and energy, it's going to ripple literally through the world. And you know, especially through this place in the Sierra, which is a place of such amazing opportunity. From the first time I came here, I felt the veil between worlds was so thin. And you said this, like, as we came into that town that was like Cobria del Sol, the River of Sun, which is like the home of like the head of the paramilitary. You were like, we started this when we met 3 years ago, you know, talking about the problems in this place and the problems in the world, the problems with the economy, the problems with, you know, the government. And it started out with problems, and you were like, but now it's clear the key is the indigenous. They're the key to this whole story. They're the key to unlocking our potential. They're the key to finding the path forward and to really raising our consciousness to the level of really becoming fully human again, all of us, getting back to our origin.
It's the two sides coming together. It's not just the indigenous. It's up to us to step up and open our hearts and be conscious enough to understand the indigenous ways, but use our own origin story with the knowledge and the consultants, and bringing that together. Really, it's very much, it's important, I think, to realize the fifth fire is balance, indigenous, non-indigenous.
Well, just to say to the word indigenous, because Victor and we talked about this a lot, he didn't like the term indigenous. He said it creates division. You know, there's a whole conversation around what that means, but ultimately what I see is it's a proximity to the origin. It's a proximity to that origination point.
Aboriginal is another word used in Australia.
It's a good one. That it's about the original peoples and the original story. It's about seeing the whole story. Our story has been cut arbitrarily 5,000 years ago, basically. That's history, 5,000 years, you know? Or it's you know, a much younger origin than that, or we've forgotten our origins entirely. So it's all of us coming back into our story, not their story versus our story. It's all of us together, and they've got the codes, and they've got the connection to the nature, and they've been playing this game for a long time, and they foresaw we would come and join and that we would understand it. And just from my perspective, being in that Kogi village, seeing that kid swinging that machete, like I just saw like just such heroism. Those kids are my future. They're my heroes. They are protecting our origin and our future with the same machete. And there's a heroic redemption arc for everyone in the world to remember their origin and to connect to it. And for this to be a channel and a pathway and a journey, a really great adventure with motorcycles and beautiful resorts and you know, jungles and rivers and canyons and mountains and deserts and the ocean right over there. You know, it's an amazing thing that life is an adventure, and people have forgotten this, and we've accepted a life that's tiny, that's miserable, where the little pilot light on our oven is the fire that should be burning in our hearts. You know, we've got forced air keeping us temperate in a box rather than being out in the world, stoking the flame of a human story that all of us are a part of, that we have a place in, that we're significant, we're needed, we're essential to. And this is just a great adventure. It's a great honor to be a part of. And it's fun. It's freeing. It's like all of us are a part of a planetary cosmic journey where there's magic and spirituality and dark energies, you know, threatening the whole balance of the universe. And we get to be the ones, the characters in the story, that wake up and raise the machete and take action.
That's it, man. Love that. Brilliant, Zachary.
Well, I mean, you've got a hell of an adventure guide here.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been exhausting. But ultimately, I don't think it could have gone any better. You always have that. There's a real sense of discomfort, isn't there, going into these situations? And I think that discomfort actually is really valuable. It's a valuable feeling to be somewhere where there are these extraordinary sentient beings, these incredibly wise people that are willing to spend time with you and hear what you have to say, and be in a position where we have something to offer, and we have something to gain, and we have a lot to gain from being in their presence, and being in this position to share this story is a privilege, as you say. It's an honor, and it's not something I take for granted. And it's something that most people don't understand what we're doing. I think it's going to be a beautiful thing to present this story in a manner that people can really connect with. The normal man on the street, the people you talk about who are living in their compressed boxes with no fire in their hearts, to be able to actually bring that into people's lives, and you know, this movement is something that is very, very long term. We're planning in the 1,000-year trajectory. These legal structures we create are going to have 1,000-year visions. These peoples that we're speaking to were around. They're connected to origins many thousands of years old that they haven't lost. Despite 500 years of oppression and colonization, they've held on to that, and it's up to us to really carry that forward and ensure that these origins connect to that future.
The past is the future is something that I kept getting from them. I was talking to Rogelio.
Ancient future.
Ancient future.
Love that.
Yeah. I kept asking them, like, what's your vision? What's your vision? What's the future? And they were just like, this is it. We're living it. Like,
yeah.
They are living in perfect alignment with their purpose. They're living in total fulfillment. They're living in a way where they know who they are and why they're here. In an egalitarian society where, you know, to put it in our terms, they've got free healthcare, housing, education, food. Like, all the basic needs are covered. They're in a pre-scarcity culture where everyone's needs are met. So much so that they're in a cosmic consciousness, where their consciousness is able to expand and extend literally in ways I can't even fathom. Like, I was with Bunkanimaku on a mission to go to some big stones and connect with the energy there. And I was just watching them work and just seeing, like, there's clearly something that you're seeing and perceiving that I'm not. And I asked him, it was very hard to translate this question. I was like, what do you see? Like, how do you see it? And he just goes like, you see that bird? It's about to rain.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it just started to rain.
So many times with the... Did you hear the bird? The bird says yes. Or a negative sound, it says no. They were literally consulting with nature and getting answers from nature, and so many times over the last 10 days I've noticed that connection. And it was beautiful as well when the Kogi Mamos came here to the farm. They sensed that things were right here, you know. This farm has been a place of conflict, and it has a dark history. Previous owners were not good people. This whole valley and everywhere in the Sierra suffered from serious violence and destruction. And the Mamo said, no, this is good now. They told us that this place is now cleansed. Not that there's more cleansing to do, not that there's not more cleansing to do in the future. But it was a beautiful thing to see them here and see how at home they felt, and see them, you know, they were mapping out the land. They were looking at the sacred sites all around. They could see the sacred stones over here with carvings on them. There's a Kogi village called Orinoco up here. They can see the river of Orinoco going up, and they could see the Reserva La Tigra, where they have jaguars on the mountain up here. They were mapping it all out and just standing there with a poporo, talking about the nature and the views all around them. It was...
Well, that's part of the immense value that they are in possession of, that they're excited to share that perspective and to help people reclaim their harmony in their lives and in their lands, and to help to regenerate. They're masterful regenerators, and not just of the physical land and of nature, but of energy, of the balance of life, of the peace that you feel in Nabucima. It's astounding. It's staggeringly peaceful there. The energy is so kept and harmonious and beautiful and cosmic. And it's all about removing those negative energies, containing them, working with them, recognizing them, honoring them, and healing them into something that allows consciousness to expand. And that's really what we're here for on this earth. We're here on this planet to tap into that spirit, to that consciousness, to be a part of a greater ecosystem, a greater spirituality, a greater interconnectedness of this superorganism that is our earth. And that to me is like I said to them, I was like, I'm here selfishly because it grows my consciousness to hang out here. It grows my consciousness to be able to hang out with you guys and to go on journeys and quests. And you guys see me with my camera and I'm doing my thing, communicating with nature, and you guys are doing your thing with your Poporo, and it's like we're doing wizard shit. And that's what we're here for, really. And that's to circle things back. That's what the fifth fire is about. It's an element of ritualized discomfort to burn away all that does not serve our highest self, and bring ourselves back to a shared co-origination. It's a concept in Buddhism called dependent co-origination, dependent co-arising, that everything comes from the same source, everything is connected, everything on a quantum level is an interconnected soup of energy. And we're tapping into that, and we're making that manifest to evolve our broken relationships with the four elements, and with the fifth element especially, that humanity is going to destroy itself if we can't get back in control of our energetic systems, of our consciousness.
For sure. I think that was a key point last night around the fire. The collapse of these systems, of whether it's the church or whether it's government or whether it's institutions that you relied on, or whether it's healthcare systems that you relied on, or education systems, that we've lost belief. Humanity's lost belief in systems, and the law of origin really is something that everyone can believe in. That's never changed. There's no corruption or transformation or anything happening with the laws of nature. They never change. They're a solid base that people can believe in again. And I think that was a profound part of the story, was that the law of origin is something that the entirety of humanity can believe in again. And another key thing last night, so simple. If we take care of our place, if we take care of our mother, our place, our mother will take care of us. So simple.
When I came into Nabucima off that bike, my hands were shaking, I was cold, I was sick. I asked him so weakly in busted Spanish, like, can I sleep in your hammock? Like, I'm sick. Can you help me? And he was like, of course. We'll go to the plants. We'll get it sorted out. He said, nature takes care of the children.
Yeah. He went to get some plants and made you a little tea, didn't he?
Yeah. And the little girl brought us beautiful raspberries, and I'll just never forget these experiences. I'll never forget the journey and the adventure. And that's something that's just can't be overstated, how important and integral to this is. That's really the value here, is in the experience. It's in the consciousness that's created. That's the surplus value out of the elements that we have the chance to be a part of, and to rekindle in all of humanity, and to bring back a journey to take back our origins, every place, and realize that the origins of our systems today came about in the severing of that thread.
Yeah.
And to bring it full circle into a complete spiral, to truly evolve into originating our own future intentionally, and remembering our way back home in a process that becomes effortless once you're there. Once you're there, once you're attuned to it, you know, we don't have to make it up as we go along. We don't have to make decisions. We align ourselves and harmonize ourselves to what wants to happen. And life becomes beautiful once again. It becomes free once again. The Arhuacos don't believe in freedom as we think. I asked them about it once and they said, free from what? And then we talked about free will and how everything happens interdependently connected and inspired by other things, down to the molecular level. They were talking like this. The same as Robert Sapolsky, the cutting edge neuroscientist, that the atoms in the body, or the molecules, the organisms, the cells, all respond to something else. And that when we can attune ourselves back to that, we find our place, we find our purpose, we find our role as we've, this journey, found purpose of the fifth fire, truly. More than just the four tribes of the Sierra and us, little brother, it's really understanding
The fifth fire, everything together as one co-creation. That's that is the synergy that we've created here this week, I think. And there's always more to do, but I felt at the end comfortable, and with new friends and old friends. You know, I've known some of these guys for a while, but there's definitely a real deep connection there now, and there's trust that we will take things forward. And I think it's important to realize the strength of the words that we've said, and also the negative actions that they talked about with not taking action, not carrying your promises forward, was really pushed on us by the Arhuacos and the Kogis as well. You know, the ceremonies that we had around removing blockages and setting intentions and harmonizing energies with the cotton, super powerful. It's so grounding. It's so harmonizing when we all put our thoughts and intentions into the cotton with real power. Then the Mamo takes that away and brings them all together and harmonizes them all together.
Well, there's an urgency in that. There's a need that we need to make good on these promises and on this energy. It started, the fire is lit, but fire is a beautiful metaphor for everything. We have to keep it fed. We have to feed the fire. We have to keep it living. We have to give it what it needs. And right now, this journey, there were a lot of things I had that I needed that I didn't have. There were a lot of limits that we're shoestringing this. We're bringing this up. You know, we've got to raise money for the Mamos to get transportation. You know, these people are doing the most important work in the world, arguably, and they don't have a budget. They don't have any resources to do it. And so there's an urgency for our side to step up and to get involved before for a lot of people, before the train leaves, before we really get this thing started and moving, and we're on these quests and journeys and pilgrimages, and we're harmonizing and taking back the Sierra and really making this place wonderful. Like, there's a real urgent need for people to step up and find our place in the ecology, and to get this project funded, to build a platform so that we can host these stories so that they can get out to the world, because the value here is invisible if it's not shared. And so really that first round of funding needs to come into building that infrastructure, that foundation, that word. As we held leaves and pressed our thumbs into them as a contract, we need to press ourselves into creating a media platform, a legal formation, an organizational structure that goes beyond just one organization. It's really about supporting all the projects in the Sierra that has a clear purpose, that is to support all the others, that is to be the interconnective ether, the networked energetic field that can hold these all together, bind them together into a narrative arc and a quest that's going to bring people in and enrich our process in an exchange that can sustain itself and go beyond mere sustainability into regenerating that which has been broken.
That's it, man. Well, I think we've covered everything at this point. Do you think we can wrap that up?
I think we can wrap it up with an invitation. an invitation for people to get involved and to join us on this amazing journey.
Yeah, I think that this is the moment I think that people have been waiting for. That crystallization, the grounding of the ideas, the real definition of what the fifth fire is. So I hope we've clarified that today. We are merely the intermediaries for these codes coming from the Indigenous, and I think we still have clarification work to do with written documents, but I hope this has been a useful download or upload of the pilgrimage that we've had over the last 10 days, and that we all speak to you soon we're going to arrange a couple of Zoom calls over the next weeks to
the idea is that
take these first steps forward.
This is just getting started, and we're going to start doing this and weaving in more voices, more characters. We're planning multi-part pilgrimage epic journey that we need to think about as a film, as a documentary.
Yep.
We need to build the platforms to host these conversations, these dialogues, these transmissions from the Mamos. We have endless content already stacked up that we need to get out to the world, and we need to craft the quest architecture to bring people in, the exchange patterns that are going to connect us with the Indigenous wisdom and help get it to more people as well, and to create the legal structures, the containers, the financial flows, and all of these energetic forces that are going to ultimately become the spark of innovation that changes a whole economy.
Yep. Sounds good.
That's it. Let's go. Flame on.
Brilliant, exactly.
The fire's still hot. The quest is to travel the world to reclaim these sacred sites. Many of them are not accessible like this, to connect them to the existing wisdom traditions that are already connected, because nature is connected. Nature is intelligent. It has all the answers, and all the answers come to us through these kinds of points, these spots, these acupuncture points. And so their role is to energetically connect to those, as they have been doing for thousands of years, and to interpret and translate from the mountain, from the stones, from the rivers, from the elements, so that they can bring those messages to us, that we connect to our networks and spread around the world. So it's a global mapping, cartography, a cosmic sort of network where we're bringing together all these different layers of wisdom, connection, of intelligence, as the earth is becoming conscious and speaking through us and dreaming through us.
Yeah, and I think the important point is they're translating from the nature's codes to us in Spanish, and it's up to us to take that and translate that into
law, money, technology, all of the other substrates that we have been on our little journey acquainted with.
Beautiful evening for our motorcycle ride, Zachary.
Oh, don't mind us. Just on a quest to right the destructive forces of greed and money that have perverted the natural order.
I think this might be get off the bike time.